The honourable member for Esquimalt Saanich Sooke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This morning, I want to start by congratulating the government on the prompt reintroduction of this bill to ban conversion therapy in Canada, despite some members being in their early days in the House. And at this ungodly hour in British Columbia, I want to try to stick to three simple points. Let me say first, and once again, this is very welcome legislation. No one in the SOGIE community needs fixing because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. In fact, attempting to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity is impossible, and the attempts themselves do great harm to those fearing or already suffering from rejection by family, friends, and their community. So again, this is welcome legislation, and I'm glad the Liberals in this Parliament have changed their position to support the ban on conversion therapy. The topic was first brought before Parliament by Sherry Benson, former NDP member for Saskatoon West, with an e-petition more than 2 years ago, which received more than 18,000 signatures. And the government's response at that time was that this simply wasn't a matter for federal jurisdiction. So I was glad to see them change their position during the last federal campaign, and I was glad to see Bill C-8 introduced last spring on March 20th, which I know to all of us seems an eon ago. Now, COVID combined with prorogation has put us back to square one on this bill today. When it comes to attempting to end the practice of conversion therapy, whose attempts to change someone's sexual orientation or gender identity through counseling or aversion therapy do great harm to those subjected to it. Again, no one in the SOGIE community needs fixing. And what we do need is protection from harmful attempts to get us to deny who we are. Secondly, I'd like to say that on all issues of importance to the SOGIE community, progress has been achieved as a result of brave advocates from our community stepping forward. Nothing has ever been given to my community in terms of protecting our rights without a struggle. I want to say a particular note of thanks to conversion therapy survivors who have stepped forward to tell their stories, two of whom have had a particular impact on me in terms of focusing my attention on this issue. They are Matt Ashcroft and Erica Muse. Just a couple of days ago, 3 conversion therapy survivors organized an online summit entitled simply End Conversion Therapy. I want to thank the co-founders of Conversion Therapy Survivors Organization again for their important work, Rocky Tishma, Michael Ferguson, and Matt Ashcroft. The conference focused on preventing anyone else from having to suffer the harm of conversion therapy by discussing how to defend, strengthen, and heal our communities. Participants heard firsthand accounts of the damage that conversion therapy does from people who have lived it, and how conversion therapy survivors are now working to support each other. So third, I want to emphasize again that the NDP will support this bill, but I have said all along that we need to listen carefully to the SOGIE community, and in particular to conversion therapy survivors, as we work to strengthen the bill at committee. The Liberals have suggested a legal strategy that falls short of the real demand of survivors and the SOGIE community, a complete ban on conversion therapy in Canada. There is also concern that the ban does not capture the full range of conversion therapy practices, and that there needs to be more attention to those practices directed at the transgender and non-binary community. Thousands of Canadians have been subjected to the harmful practice of conversion therapy, and it is something that is still with us. Studies have shown that even more than the minister suggested, nearly 50% of trans and non-binary Canadians have been subjected to some form of conversion therapy instead of being affirmed and celebrated for who they are. It is past time to ban this practice in Canada, but as we do so, we must also remember that it is necessary to strengthen the capacity of the SOGIE community to work with survivors to repair as much of that harm as is possible. I will be watching to make sure the federal government makes a significant contribution to that effort. I look forward to working with the government to make sure we get both parts of this job done soon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.